Good morning, evening, or afternoon, everybody. It's Kaghoe coming at you with another video. So today I wanted to take the time to cover the most influential changes that we are going to be seeing in Mists of Pandaria Classic, opposed to what it was originally. Largely, these changes have to do with reputation. There aren't too crazy class changes. Like, some things are very busted, but they have sort of gotten rid of the busted things, similar to what we saw in Wrath and Kata as well. But all in all, there's just a lot of changes, mainly focused on reputation, gearing, and the sort of catch-up mechanics that get put in during MoP, and just sort of how they have changed them to be in a different way and landscape, and just all of those changes. And I think they're very important for you to know, especially if you plan on playing MoP, and if you played it back in the day, you're going to be very pleasantly surprised with a lot of these changes and just how they will go about them and what they can do. So without further ado, I'm going to switch it over to the blue post and dive right into it. So I'll see you then. Voop. So here is the Mists of Pandaria beta forum, and these are the biggest changes that they did. These happened on May 29th, but I just wanted to go over them so you guys are aware, because they are very, very massive. So with these changes, we wanted to speed up some of the areas where reputation gains are otherwise too sparse, as could be seen with the original introduction of combinations for ult. We don't want to trivialize reputations, and daily quests are still the primary source for reputations in the first few weeks of the expansion. We've also aligned components of reputations that were originally introduced in later phases with their associated content updates. These will come to Mists of Pandaria Classic at a later date. So the grand accommodations from patch 5.1 will be available, allowing you to go from Revered to Exalted 100% faster and increase the reputation gains on your ults by 100% after one character on the account it has Revered. So this was a huge change that I think was a really great idea back in the day. 5.1 also, I think, was the battle on the shore with the Alliance and Horde, and just sort of like a PvP type thing down at the very bottom of Pandaria. So it was a really cool thing to see them add those in and allow you very ult-friendly change as well. Shado-Pan and August Celestial dailies will not require Revered with the Golden Lotus. So this is probably one of the massive changes, because Shado-Pan and August Celestial dailies requiring Revered with Golden Lotus pretty much put you like 2 to 3 weeks back on any character you wanted to start, regardless of the 100% reputation increases, and it was kind of a pain in the butt. However, the Shado-Pan and August Celestials have some very, very important items and things that are very good in the first phases of MoP. So I will definitely go to the Shado-Pan Quartermaster and August Celestial just to show you the type of gear and things that you will need. But it is huge that you do not need the Golden Lotus, because you can just go straight into them and make sure you do them. What's super interesting is, with all of this stuff being available, you'll actually, like, there's a daily cap of 25 dailies. Like, you will be close to hitting that, I'd imagine, having Shado-Pan, August Celestial. Like, you'll have to actually pick and choose which reps to do, which is very interesting. Then the reputation requirement for Valor Point Shoulders lowered to Honor with the Golden Lotus. It was Revered. Reputation requirement for Valor Point Hands lowered to Honored with the August Celestials was Revered. Reputation requirement for Valor Point Waist lowered to Honored with the Klaxi was Revered. And the reputation requirement for the Valor Point Trinket lowered to Honor with the Shado-Pan was Revered. So those are the big reputation, getting those Valor Point rating gears with your reps. So because, as we pointed out, you'll be able to do Shado-Pan August Celestial off the bat, you not have to be Revered with the Golden Lotus first. You are able to go in there and get your Valor Point Hands, get your Valor Point Trinkets, which are pretty big pieces here. The two cooking patterns for 300 hit and 300 expertise from the Tillers have had their reputation requirement lowered to Revered was Exalted. All Pandarian cooking recipes that created 5 items per craft will now create 10. This includes banquets and the highest tier of stat food. So that's pretty huge. Everyone will be having banquets instead of feasts. They're the feasts of MoP, so They're just essentially feasts, but being able to make 10 per instead of 5 is huge. The Claxy repeatable reputation quest Seeds of Fear now only requires 5 items per turn in, was 20. The repeatable Claxy reputation quest Seeds of Fear is disabled until after the weekly reset after the first week of raiding. You still may gather the items, but the turn-in won't be available until after resets. So they don't want you to just go and do Seeds of Fear and get a ton of Seeds of Fear and just turbo the Claxy rep. They're waiting until after weekly reset after the first week of raiding. So that's going to be like, knowing them, we'll probably see 2 to 3 weeks of just playing MoP, then raids come out, and then you'll be able to do that. But there are other dailies to do Claxy. They just don't want you to sit there forever. They're essentially protecting us from ourselves. They don't want you to just get exalted with the Claxy on the first day. Ancient Golai caches will not drop Scrolls of Wisdom, Jewel Crafting Patterns, Imperial Cloth, Relics of the Thunder King, or Relics of Gulai until after the weekly reset after the first week of raiding. Gulai caches contain gold and lesser charms of good fortune until then. So just making a lot of those sort of weekly things and gear things not be active or not drop until after the first week of raiding. Ancient Golai caches will not contain Spirits of Harmony or Treasures of the Veil until Siege of Orgrimmar becomes available, as it was in original Mists of Pandaria. So Spirits of Harmony are a really unique currency. They're like the Eternals type things, volatile, like they're a harmony moat essentially. So a lot of people like to just go to their farm with the tillers and grow moats of harmony. That is the meme, and that's what I'm sure many people will do, because Spirits of Harmony are very valuable crafting reagents in Mists of Pandaria. But we'll cover all the crafting stuff in a later date. Reputation tokens from the rare spawn Zandalari spawns will become available with the Thunder King phase. So we're not going to have the Skull Island and Zandalari thing. It might be actually in the game and available to go up in Northern Pandaria. However, it is not. It will not be available right away to grind, so you can't kill rares, get those combinations, and start doing your rep before Throne of Thunder comes out in the Thunder King base. The enemies of the Veil of Eternal Blossoms will not give reputation with the Golden Lotus until a later content release. So I think in Siege of Orgrimmar, when that comes out, you get a whole new dailies, and you get the ability to just grind the Golden Lotus rep, but that's not until Siege of Orgrimmar and everything with Garrosh and exploding it up. And now this one is absolutely probably the best change they could do. The Order of the Cloud Serpent will now offer a bind on account flight log for 800 gold at Exalted that can be sent to an alt to teach them Cloud Serpent riding without getting exalted with the Order of the Cloud Serpent on that character. So the Cloud Serpent and getting your Cloud Serpents to ride is such a pain in the butt. But, you know, everyone will probably just be on their their boost bundle shot touched one anyway. But in order to do the really cool Cloud Serpent riding, you do have to get exalted with them. And there's eggs like the Netherwing, and it is just a fun thing. Then they updated a few things like this and really changed tanking, especially. But they added Mass Resurrection to all classes that have the healer specialization available as a baseline spell at level 44. So that's cool. You don't have to be specialized into Mass Res. So like if you're a monk, whether you're DPS or Brewmaster, you can Mass Res now too. So that's pretty cool. The AoE max damage cap has been lifted from 10 to 20. That's pretty cool. You'll be able to hit 20 mobs now instead of just 10. Apparently, AoE looting comes into Mists of Pandaria, which is really huge. Tank specializations. Vengeance no longer has diminishing returns on its attack power when fighting multiple enemies. Vengeance will now provide increased attack power even if the incoming attack is missed. Vengeance attack power generation from spells with missiles is now reduced by your damage reduction for the first 3 seconds of your damage reduction effect. To compensate for this, Vengeance attack power generation is now 1.8% of unmitigated damage, was 1.5. Fixed a bug causing issues when wiping on an encounter and experiencing reduced Vengeance gain the next time the enemy is engaged. So Vengeance is a key mechanic. We actually saw it in SOD a lot too, so pretty cool stuff. But those are the biggest changes to date that they have done with Mists of Pandaria, and these are quite extensive and will lead to some very interesting gameplay changes and decisions and seeing how people will go about sort of doing their quests, getting their dailies, and so on. So I'm going to go to the Shado-Pan and August Celestial Quartermasters and show you the type of rewards they have if they're in the beta here. So I will see you then. Voop. So we're here at the August Celestials Quartermaster at the bottom of the city, whether you're Horde or Alliance, they're both at the bottom of the city. And so you can obviously get a really cool mount with them if you ground to Exalted and want to spend 9k. But more importantly, the gear that you can get. So they have some decent 458 gear, but that's nothing special. Heroic Dungeon gear is better than that. What you will really start to want is the Valor Point gear. So not only do you have Valor Point, but you can get Feet at Revered, which is 489 level. You can get Hands at Revered, which are, or Hands are at Honored, which are 489 item level. You can also get Hands, or sorry, I already said Hands. You can get Wrists, which are 489 level at Honored. And then you can get Bracers at 489, which is Honored. So just really good gear for Valor Points. And that's why it's super important to not have to get the Golden Lotus. And you can just skip that and go right to the August Celestial Reputation and go and get that. There's always some cosmetics and recipes and stuff. One of the most notable one is the 28 slot bag. If you're a tailor, you can get that from there, which people love their big bags. So I'm now going to fly over to the Shado-Pan Monastery and show you guys the Shado-Pan Reputation. So I will see you when we get there. Voop. So we are here at the Shado-Pan Garrison, where this vendor is. He has some stuff for Justice Points. As I said, it's literally less than heroic gear. But what we really see are the capes, which require Honor, which are 489 eye level, 1250 Valor Points. Then we see probably what is the biggest thing is the trinkets. These Shado-Pan trinkets are massive, and they also now require just Honored instead of Revered. But being able to go right into the Shado-Pan Reputation is really, really huge. So you can just come here, start doing the dailies, and then you'll be able to get these 489 trinkets, which I'd probably recommend for most classes are your best ones. They have decent on use, so this is what I'm saving my Valor for. Pretty much every character will want to do this unless you get lucky in your raid or with your bonus roll, whatever. But really amazing trinkets from the Shado-Pan, and being able to do this right off the rip and not have to go through the August Celestial rep is pretty massive. And they also have Valor headpieces, which are really good as well. So those are the big rewards from the August Celestials and the Shado-Pan, and why it is super important and why this change is so big, because you will be able to focus Shado-Pan dailies, August Celestial dailies right off the bat and get some of those awesome rewards to sort of catapult your character's eye level and get some really nice gear before raiding comes out. So I just want to take the time to highlight that, show you guys, and talk about how important and game-changing these sort of changes are going to be. So anyway, I truly hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, anything like that, anything you would like me to cover for Mists of Pandaria, definitely drop it down below, and I will do my best to sort of answer it and help you guys out. So until next time, I'll see you later. Hope you have a great day. Bye-bye. Hey you. Yes you. Are you still there? Well, I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this entire video and making it to the end here. If you enjoyed this video, definitely check out the other videos about World of Warcraft listed in these playlists down below. And thank you again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.